Good morning. I am the Eggman. What in the world does that mean? What did the Beatles mean by those weird words? I have no idea, but the Torah speaks about it. The Rebbe speaks about it in a Sikha, in Likutei Sichos, Chelik Chavtes, Parshas Teitzei. Okay, I'm getting ready for Parshas Teitzei already. Why? Because I have to think in advance of the time. So I'm getting you ready in advance. Good morning. So I am the Eggman. What does the Torah mean? The Rebbe says that that's the ultimate paradigm for your servitude to God in terms of your obligations to God. It's not so much a slave, it's not so much a regular worker, it's not even so much an eggman in the sense of being a contract egg dude, but rather a partnership. You have a partnership, you're in the egg business with God. This is the example he gives. It's from Rambam, Hilchos Shluchim V'Shutfim, Reish Perek Ches, the beginning of chapter 8. The laws of partnerships. The Rebbe takes this as the model for your serving God. Good morning in Eretz Yisrael. The Rebbe takes this as our model, Shavua Tov, our model for our reward for serving God. Why is reward important? It says schar mitzvah mitzvah. Right? Where's that from? That's from Pirkei Avos, chapter 4, Mishnah Beis. Schar mitzvah mitzvah, the Tanya brings it down, right? The mitzvah itself, that avodah, putting you in that behavior or whatever, that action, interacting that way, that is itself the reward. Okay, do you feel that? I'm putting on tefillin, this is my reward. But okay, that's one aspect of this. He explains what that means in terms of unveiling this allegory of being the eggman of God. You have an egg business, a franchise with God or something like that. No, more than a franchise, a partnership with God in an egg salad sandwich company. But what are eggs? So the Rebbe says here, the law is that a person who gives eggs to an egg dude, the eggman, okay, it's called Bala Tarnagelim, the chicken guy, so he can put his chickens on these eggs until the chicks come out, the fledglings, is that what they're called? And the chicken guy raises the coop, and they split the profit, okay? One guy gives the goods, one guy gives the chickens to sit on these goods, these eggs, and then they're going to raise these chickens and they're going to profit amongst them. That becomes the ultimate paradigm. The Rebbe explores other paradigms here. It's actually quite a long sikha in terms of twists and turns, you know, that's the Rebbe. Sikhas do that. But let's skip to the end first and we'll see if we'll go back to the beginning. So so you could have a contract, right? You're going to hire, I don't know, a bakery. You have a contract to rent the bakery, or you could have a partnership. One owns the bakery and one works there. So that's the way it says that we have partnership with God, not only in terms of our reward, which we'll see what that means, but also in terms of creation itself. Because these eggs, since they have fledglings or chicks, in potentia, right? They have a potential. It represents that Elokus was is voran in Welt, the godliness that's in the world, bekeach, in potentia, ubehelem, and concealed, ubedugam kiviyachol v'di afreichim velcha zayin in the keach and the beitzim, like the analogy of chicks that are in potentia right in the eggs. So that there's godliness in the world, and we interact. We sort of it's not gestation. What do you call that? Henry, is that a word? To hen, to sit on the eggs. Okay, we don't have a nice word for that. To hen. Zal nisgalavern un biz zu tachlis agila v'yigdalaisam. It's not just that they hatch, right? It's not just a hatchimal. That's a good heading for this. It's not just a hatchimal, but he's going to raise them too. Do you raise them after they're hatched? Or do you just like match them off? You know, what the Rabbi Y.Y. Jacobson has like a whole rhyming thing about that. You dispatch, then you hatch, you dispatch, you match. He has that. It could be a nice rap. Good morning. So if you're the eggman, you don't just hatch the eggs, you raise the chicks. Okay? That's Tachlis Agilui. You want to know the ultimate revelation? It's raising those chicks. It's being a parent, a good parent. Und der Revach von At der Aveda is mitzad gekein shutfus b'neihem. And the profit, that all that growth that comes about through that process of not only hatching but raising them, that's a partnership. And the Rebbe likens that here to the creation of the world itself and our partnership with Hashem and creation, that we become like partners to God. It's like it's our creation. He gives us these eggs that we have to bring the godliness in the reveal in the world and interact with it, and we're raising it. But it says here, in what sense does each partner gain something? Because God, what's he going to get from eggs? You know, what does he get out of it? The Eivishter is the Zichnis Aneg Kiviyakal. He gets pleasure from dem vast. God gets pleasure from the fact that as hat zik eisgeführt der Nesava Kadosh Baruch Hu li'esla directatainim. He fulfilled his desire to make a dwelling place in the lower realm by you interacting with the world, because the eggman is a world man. He's in the world. So God wants to be in the world. He wants godliness revealed. So that's his pleasure that he gets. What do we get out of it? Okay, first, one more thing about God. It says, I get pleasure from the fact that I told you what to do and you did it. I get pleasure for being your taskmaster, or whatever you want to call it. I said and you did. You're king. That's his pleasure. The king gets pleasure out of his subjects being obedient and fulfilling his vision for the kingdom. And idin haven tainug fun lachazas b'nayim Hashem. What is our side of the partnership here? What do we get out of it? We get to be around him. Are you in a relationship that just being around that person is important to you? Or do you have to actually do things all the time? Or is in the doing things the fact that you're doing it with somebody, that's what makes the thing important? So the thing itself becomes secondary to spending time with the person. What is our pleasure in having a partnership with God? Not only over eggs, but every single thing we can count in the world, the entire world. All of creation, in fact, as the Rebbe goes on to explain. What do we get out of that? To behold the splendor of God. That is what we get out of it. Okay, you don't see it yet? So listen more. And where do you see that? In those areas that you applied yourself. You're going to see godliness in those areas. So if you give money to charity, for example, right? Then your relationship with being supported by God, like him being the source of your livelihood, is a partnership, and it's a loving relationship. It's a relationship of care. It goes on because it's not just limited. There's a whole discussion in the beginning of when you get this reward. Because it says that the day worker has to get paid daily. So it's not enough to wait to Gan Eden, right, at the end. And even if you want to say that, whatever goes on, it's like a very long, developed, meandering path. It's beautiful. So you could say that all generations comprise one, it's the Jewish body, and then afterwards we receive the word. So you don't have like this long transition because you have to wait until the end of time. So we're one body, one way of looking at it. But also, if you're a day worker, you have to be supplied for in the daytime. But the Rebbe, I think, ends up rejecting that. It's not just a day worker, but rather a shutef. It's a partnership. And it's more than the fact that a day worker has to get paid right away, but you get paid in advance, in a way, right? Why? Because you have to have the potential to go out and work. So if you, because it says here in the law, here the Rebbe brings an aspect of this law, being the eggman, and to have this partnership of an egg business, okay, or whatever it is here, because it becomes a little bit more generic. The Chiyuv Kiviyachol Eif dem Eibishten zuzustellen de Idin und sie besorgen nach von frier mit schar amlam v'zainam. The law is here it is. Every day you have to give him his work, even though they're partners. The partnership requires that the original partner, the first guy, which is God in this case, has to give him payment or his partnership dues from his work and to sustain him. So he has to be sustained first. He has to have energy to do his work on a daily basis. So the Rebbe learns out from this, right? That he derives from this rather. Nachvon frier mit schar malam azeinam. Kedei ze zu geben de Möglichkeit zu durchzuführen avodasim. In order for us to serve God, we have to have the means. We have to be healthy. We have to be sustained with food. We have to have a home. He goes through all these things. All of these things are required for us to have the total proper mindset to be able to serve God. And that's what the Rambam writes. Okay, he writes this is beautiful words. Hilchos Tshuva, the laws of repentance, chapter 9, first law. He says, and the Rebbe refers to, the Rambam himself, the Rebbe refers to these as Avtachas v'Yehudim Taivim Begashmias. The Torah, the written Torah, doesn't tell you about the world to come. It doesn't tell you what you're gonna, just bask in the glory of God on a lawn chair forevermore. It doesn't say that. It says you're gonna have your rain in its time, and everything's gonna go great for your business, and your life's gonna be geschmack. You're gonna have a good life. And the Rambam writes that we find this all over the Torah. The Wie stimmt es mit dem, as matan Torah scharish mitzvahs hichaye hayom haba? The Rebbe goes on to say, at first glance, I don't know what stimmt es mit dem. I think it means suffice. How do we suffice with the fact that you're going to get reward in the world to come? As my father's calling. Whoops. It's Sunday, isn't it? I guess he wants to take me out for brunch. I hope that didn't cut off the signal. Okay. So it says, Rambam writes that those good things, hem seif matan scharim shal mitzvahs. The reward in the world to come is not the reward of the mitzvahs. Ella kadosh baruch hu nasan lanu teiro, vav hivtachanu b'teiro she'im nasa eis b'simcha yasir mena kol dvarim v'nai ma'isam la'aseiso. I think when it says Oisam Teves, it's talking about what it says in the Torah. It's just that's not actually the reward. If all those things that we're gonna have the rain in its time, we're gonna have a good life, that's not the reward for the mitzvahs. Rather, that's if you serve God with joy. God just naturally, this is what he writes. I'll read it to you. If you're gonna serve God with joy, He's going to remove from everything any obstacles we have from doing that. So God sees we're serving with joy, and He blazes a path before us that we could continue doing so. He makes it easier for us. This is what Rambam writes, okay? And He will give us all those good things which strengthen our hands, in order to do if you want to make a geshmak sukkah, you gotta have money and means and a place to put it. In order for us to sit idle from having to work, from obligations, to learn wisdom, and fulfill God's mitzvahs, in order for us to merit the world to come, which is the reward, according to Rambam. He brings the Ramban that, it's going to be ultimately in a physical way. That's the ultimate expression. of the reward. And then the Rebbe even distinguishes between Olam HaTchiyah, the world of resurrection, and Elef HaShvi'i, the ultimate, which is not for any reward at all. It's just because God's a nice guy. Okay, another thing, the Rebbe considers that maybe Hashem is as like a side thing. He gives you reward in the world to come, but the benefit you get now is just out of his kindness. But the Rebbe throws out that idea in favor. Good morning. Good morning, Kinera, too. I didn't see you there. In favor of the model of the EGGMAN in a partnership with God, that you're not just getting paid as a day worker, because then when's the day, right? Is that like tomorrow? Okay, even if it's it's like tomorrow. L'machar l'kabel scharam, it says, right? Tomorrow you're going to receive the reward. And the question is, when is tomorrow? Tomorrow could be like, Gan Eden, or after that, you got to wait all the time, maybe all the Jews. So the Rebbe goes through all the details there. But the ultimate way is understanding is that we're a partnership, not only with our Avodas Hashem, but the entire creation. Every single thing around you and beyond, you are a partnership in creation. And it says, Kol mispalo v'yachulu. When you say v'yachulu on Friday night, when you're establishing that God creates the world in 6 days and rested on the seventh. So when you say that and testify that you believe that, then you become partners with God. That's why you have to say it. The people have the custom of saying it in pairs. So they're making a testimony, because that establishes us as a partnership with God in Maaseh Bereshis, the entire creation. Okay, so that's basically the topic. The point here, the Rebbe basically saying this relates to CHODESH ELUL, because we're leading up now. We're preparing for Rosh Hashanah, and when it says in Rosh Hashanah, it says in the Likutei Torah that on Rosh Hashanah is established the judgment you're going to have through the year for your physical life. Okay, the spiritual life. What's that? Yotes Kislev or something? A different day of the year? Maybe Yom Kippur even. I don't know. Shavuos more. What Lag BaOmer are you going to tell me? I don't know. But Rosh Hashanah is the time where your whole physical livelihood is dependent on. So now that we're leading up to that, you have to say God, the king's in the field now, right? So we're in this moment of serving in a field. It says, when a Jew does his service in the field or in the vineyard, shall HaKadosh Baruch Hu of God, remember the king's in the field, in the vineyard, darf im gegeben, während efsharis von v'achalta k'nafshcha savecho. If you're working in a vineyard, the law is that the worker dude is able to pluck them and eat them. I did that when I worked in the kibbutz, and we also did worse than that. Okay, we were a bit wild. We were like Vietnam kamikaze warfare and I got thrown out plucking apricots because I was being terrorized by my friend and fighting back. So they threw me out. So I had to sleep in the middle of the day, in the heat of the day, with a fan right on me because it was horrible heat indoors. And cockroaches, I don't talk about that. And he goes on to say that even the law regarding an animal working, pushing a mill, you can't, if he's grinding kernels or whatever, wheat, if he's grinding that in a mill or whatever he's traipsing over, he gets to eat from whatever he's working on. So if you're talking about your animal instinct, that too is taken care of in our partnership with God. Or in this sense, this type of having a yoke on your behemoth, but you get to eat. The law is leisach slaim shar bedishay. When he's whatever they do, threshing, the ox cannot be muzzled. It even says here that we go in with confidence before Rosh Hashanah, on Erev Rosh Hashanah, with betuchim shezeichim. We go in with confidence. We dress like it's Shabbos because we're confident. We don't do a Tisha B'Av thing, right? We go in Shabbos clothes, showing that we're confident that we're going to be found meritorious. So even in Erev Shabbos, the decree is made before you have to even be on trial. And then it says that we're immediately going to be written up as tzaddikim gmurim. People that are afraid of that phrase, there it is again. We're going to be inscribed as tzaddikim gmurim. That's how your year should be. You know, should all be written and inscribed for a good and sweet year. You know, we're getting very close, I guess. What is it? The first day of Elul. We have to blow the shofar today. That's awesome. Say the dry kapitla of Psalms. We say 3 chapters of Psalms extra. So I don't know, get excited about that. I'm writing about an awesome topic about, okay, whatever, I wrote about it. I have spoken enough today. You'll see that, you know, in like a day or two. About the Eliyahu and Navi, the yearning for Mashiach, which is Messiah. Mashiach means to speak. It's the thought is the muse for speech. And it's going to Mashiach is the union of thought with speech, which means meaningful communication, which means meaningful relationships. Being present, caring, and reaching out to the other and listening to the other. It's all about that union. That's what Mashiach is. And Eliyahu and Navi is the passion to want that. It's the Nadav and Avihu that becomes the soul, that's burning fire of love for God, to want to be genuine in our speech, which means our interactions not with just people, but also with God. God's the other in this sense. We like Kadosh Baruch Hu and Knesset Yisrael, we become, there's a relationship there. Okay, so anyways, wish everyone a great day, good vach. Hope you had a great Shabbos. Hope you have a good Gebench. We say that? So weird. Good year. Okay, good year now, we say it, especially now, right? Okay, so anyone have anything wise to say? Say it now or forever. Say it again later. Okay, have a great day.